Good day, everyone. When we think of Great Britain's Buckingham Palace or other historic royal residences, one iconic image instantly comes to mind: the Royal Guards. For centuries, these colorful and highly trained soldiers have stood watch as an ever-present force, demonstrating extreme discipline and a steely resolve. Despite the constant taunts and endless attempts by tourists to crack their composure, they remain completely unfazed. But what actually happens when a royal guard comes face to face with people who disrespect their tradition? Do they just have to sit there and take it, or do they fight back? Let's find out. The history. The world-famous ceremony we know today as the Changing of the Guard was first performed at the Palace of Whitehall. It eventually moved to St. James's Palace until Queen Victoria relocated the royal family to Buckingham Palace for a bit more room. Rather than leaving the former residence entirely unguarded, a small detachment was left behind to keep watch. Today, that tradition continues, with the Royal Guards responsible for protecting several royal buildings across the UK. Every year, millions of tourists flock to these grounds to witness this precision drill, where the previous shift officially hands over the duty of protection to the next. The demanding life of a guard. Despite what some might think due to their unique, almost novelty appearance, members of the Royal Guard are absolutely not to be underestimated. Every single one of them is an elite combat soldier trained in deadly weapons and hand-to-hand combat. Before securing this prestigious role, they are subjected to intense psychometric testing and must meet strict physical criteria. For a long time, you had to be at least 6 feet 2 inches to even be considered. However, in 2017, they literally lowered the bar, allowing soldiers who are at least 5 feet 10 inches to join the ranks. Once on duty, a royal guard must never leave his post. They must stand at strict attention at all times, meaning if nature calls, they just have to hold it. This extreme discipline also applies to fainting. During the sweltering summer sun, those heavy bearskin caps can get awfully hot, and fainting isn't uncommon. If a guard starts seeing stars or feeling dizzy, they aren't allowed to break posture. They must remain at attention until they pass out. In the military, this is literally known as fainting to attention, breaking the silence and the rules of composure. Many people wonder, do they ever speak? Yes, they do. Despite their stoic nature, the guards will absolutely warn you if you get too close or disrespect their perimeter. Their most famous command is a loud, booming shout: "Make way for the Queen's Guard!" If you try to stand in their path or play a joke on them, you will quickly find yourself forcefully barged out of the way or strictly warned to back off. Furthermore, smiling and laughing is strictly forbidden. For these combat professionals, breaking character, even for a selfie with a tourist, is a major offense. In fact, any soldier caught breaking composure can be fined up to $260 just for smiling. Though it is incredibly rare, a few clever tourists and comedians have occasionally managed to make a guard crack a quick smile or a subtle nod. The reality: true combat professionals. It's vital to remember that while their duties look highly ceremonial, these soldiers are effectively highly trained combat assets. They possess the legal authority to fire their weapons or cause injury if they believe the monarch or the royal property is in immediate danger. While their standard SA-80 rifles are generally not loaded with live ammunition during routine shifts, rounds are immediately provided during times of heightened security threat levels. The secret of the bearskin hat. Finally, let's address the elephant, or rather the bear, in the room. Those massive black hats that look like fluffy boom mics are actually called bearskins, and they have a fascinating history dating back over 200 years. In the early 19th century, French Emperor Napoleon dressed his imperial guards in these tall hats, believing the added height would intimidate his enemies. However, after the British defeated Napoleon's troops at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, the British military collected these caps as trophies of war. Eventually, they adopted them into their own official uniforms. These hats stand 18 inches tall and weigh up to 1.5 pounds. Unlike a regular helmet strap that goes under the chin, the Royal Guard's bearskin features a strap worn strictly under the nose. This is an old safety feature. Back in the days of cavalry warfare, if a guard's massive hat was struck by a saber or a bullet, a chin strap could easily snap the soldier's neck. A nose strap ensures that the hat simply flies off safely without taking the soldier's head with it. Rest assured, while they used to be made of real Canadian black bear fur, today's Royal Guards utilize high-quality synthetic